This is not a sudden war. This is the result of decades of history, ideology, fear, and power struggles. To understand why Iran, Israel, and the United States are in conflict today, we must go back in time. Before 1979, Iran was one of America's closest allies in the Middle East. The Iranian monarchy, led by the Shah, had strong ties with the United States and even maintained quiet cooperation with Israel. But everything changed in 1979. That year, a massive revolution swept through Iran. The Shah was overthrown. In his place rose a new Islamic republic, led by religious clerics who viewed the United States as a corrupting force and Israel as an illegitimate state. From this moment onward, Iran's foreign policy was built on resistance to Western influence and opposition to Israel. Iranian leaders began referring to the United States as the Great Satan and Israel as the Little Satan. This ideological shift became the foundation of one of the most enduring rivalries in modern geopolitics. Israel, on the other hand, saw the new Iranian regime as an existential threat. Iran did not merely criticize Israel, it openly called for its elimination and began supporting armed groups that fought against Israel on multiple fronts. Instead of fighting Israel directly, Iran adopted a strategy known as proxy warfare. Iran provided money, weapons, and training to groups such as Hezbollah in Lebanon, militias in Iraq, and later the Houthis in Yemen. This allowed Iran to challenge Israel and the United States without triggering a full-scale direct war. For years, this conflict remained mostly indirect. Airstrikes in Syria, cyber attacks, assassinations, economic sanctions. But one issue pushed tensions closer to open war than any other: Iran's nuclear program. Iran insists its nuclear program is peaceful and meant for energy and scientific research. Israel and the United States do not believe this. They fear that a nuclear-armed Iran would permanently alter the balance of power in the Middle East. For Israel, this is not a theoretical concern. It is a question of survival. Israel believes that if Iran acquires nuclear weapons, it could shield itself while attacking Israel through proxies, making retaliation impossible. Because of this, Israel has repeatedly stated that it will not allow Iran to become a nuclear power. The United States shares this concern, but for broader reasons. A nuclear Iran could trigger a regional arms race, destabilize global energy markets, and weaken American influence in the region. Diplomatic efforts were made, agreements were signed, sanctions were lifted and reimposed. But trust never truly existed. As negotiations failed, both sides prepared for the possibility of war. Israel increased its military readiness. Iran expanded its missile capabilities. The United States positioned forces across the region. Then came the escalation. Israeli strikes targeted Iranian military and nuclear facilities. Iran responded with missile launches and proxy attacks against Israeli and American interests. At this point, the United States moved from support to direct involvement. American forces struck Iranian targets, arguing that escalation could no longer be contained. What had once been a shadow war became open confrontation. This conflict is not driven by a single event. It is driven by fear, by history, and by competing visions of regional dominance. Israel seeks security. Iran seeks sovereignty and influence. The United States seeks stability on its own terms. Caught in between are millions of civilians, global trade routes, and the fragile balance of peace. This war is not only about borders or missiles. It is about power, identity, and the future of the Middle East. And unless those deeper issues are addressed, this conflict will not truly end.